where you at, boy?
Ahoy hoy, it's your boy attackslug, and welcome back to Where You At, where I load up save files, old and new, and see where I'm at any particular game. And today, we're looking at the 2011 release, Atelier Totori? Atelier? I don't know how to pronounce that properly. I've never quite learned. This is the second game in the Arland Japanese role-playing game trilogy for the PS3. And I am still, like, way early in this game. I'm like 2.5 hours into this game. So, my goal for this summer, as I do own all these games on the PS3, and right now there are 5 of them, but my goal for the summer was to finish the Arland trilogy. And I finished Rorona last month, and I put about 2 hours into this, and I was like, I need to play something else. I was getting, like, they're like, you know, 20 or 30 hour RPGs, and I tend to get burned out really easy on RPGs, so here's the thing with this game. I know perhaps many of you who watch this channel and have seen other games that I've done might be prejudging this based on the art style. And thinking, hey, this is a game for girls, blah blah blah. And you would be wrong. If you were going to judge every game on the art style, you were going to miss out on a lot of excellent games. And what I learned from playing the previous game in the series is that this game gets very technically complex. There's a lot of depth here. But in addition, there's a lot of great character moments and a lot of good writing. And those are things that I appreciate in video games. So, the Atelier series has been around since like the PS1. There were a bunch of games that did not get localized, but the first one that did get localized was actually a much more traditional JRPG called Atelier Iris on the PS2. It's like, you know, sprites, 2D, 3/4 overhead. It was great. But the series on the PS3 are actually more traditional to how the game usually is, in that it has a female protagonist, and that you are doing a lot of crafting, and the story is perhaps not as linear as you might expect. So there are multiple endings, there are just all kinds of things that you would not normally expect from a game that looks like this, or, you know, if you had seen the box art going, oh, I don't want to play that, that looks like a fucking Barbie game. You'd be wrong. There's a very in-depth crafting system, there is traditional turn-based RPG gameplay, it is excellent. But there's also a lot of story, so if you don't like sitting through a lot of story, and I know some of you don't, then perhaps you would not like this, but I can appreciate story, I can appreciate the usage of tropes, and the when you turn a trope on its head a little bit, I can certainly appreciate that. But we're just kind of thumbing through some story here. So yeah, I'm only about 2.5 hours in. This is still really early in terms of any kind of an RPG. And that is my sister. She apparently is working at this bar now. And all these guys are super excited. They're like, yeah. So this is one of the guys that I get quests from, and the quests are about going out and gathering. So this game differs from the previous game in the series. The previous game in the series was Atelier Rorona, where you were the alchemist of Arland. So your goal was to complete quests within a certain time frame. That's the other thing, there's a lot of time management in these games. And so you would complete quests within a certain time frame, and hopefully you wouldn't fail. This game seems to be more about adventuring, meaning that I have to go explore new areas, and that gains me what I think are called license points, LP, and then the more that I do, the more that I can go and explore. But still, I have a 3-year time frame, not 3 real years, but 3 in-game years to deal with that. So I just got my adventurer's license, which apparently is a big deal in this fictional world. But I don't know that my goal to complete this trilogy this summer is going to happen. It's already like the middle of August. By the time you see this, it's going to be like the end of August, because I have a whole bunch of other stuff pre-recorded. I have some places to go and things to see. I'm not going to be home for about 9 days. later in the month, so I made sure to get everything recorded beforehand. So we're gonna kind of thumb through this dialogue here. I'm probably not gonna save, so I'm gonna go back and play this for real. But in the interest of time here, we're gonna just bail out of the town square and head to the world map. Though actually, before I do that, we're gonna head back to our here's our cauldron where we do synthesis, and this is one of the core tenets of this game is synthesis. You can see right now we don't have a whole lot. There's not a whole lot that we can do, so I can't really yeah, I'm gonna craft this, and it's made of this thing, and it has different stats, and you've got different grades on the materials that you find in the world. So they got a D grade and a C grade, and those grades have different traits to them. And as I said, this gets pretty complicated pretty fast. So doing that used up a day of my time. Obviously, I can only choose one trait here because it only has one. But as you go on, you want to craft things that have particular traits for particular quests that you have or things that you want to do. So it does get much more complex as the game goes on. There are shops, there are things you can buy. Here is Pamela. If you've played any other games in this series, you would know she's a ghost. Well, no. She was in Monokemia, which is another game from this developer who is called Gust. They've been making traditional Japanese RPGs in Japan for quite some time, and they're quite good at it. So, she's mad that I went to Arland without her. But she was in the last game and she was a ghost, so I don't know if she's still a ghost or it's just, hey, this happens to be a girl with the same name and purple hair, and her shop has a teddy bear. It seems like the same person to me, or at least, you know, someone very similar. Alright, enough of what you want to tell me here. So she has a shop that I can buy things from, and what you'll see here is that there are books that are obviously I cannot afford right now, and these books will teach me new recipes, and being able to craft new stuff is going to help me in terms of healing, in terms of items, attacks, gear. There's a lot to this game. There's kind of a lot to take in if you haven't played one of these before. But they tend to put them out like once a year or so. The new one is actually already out in Japan, to my recollection, and it's going to be out here probably next year. So that'll be the third one in the next trilogy, of which I already own the first two and haven't played them yet. So I'm kind of, my backlog is, for the most part, downright embarrassing, especially when it comes to role-playing games, because it's just, I love them, but I don't have the time. And even when I do, I get burned out really easy on playing a game for, you know, 30 or 40 or 50 hours. Any game that is not called Trials or Spelunky. And also, we've done, you know, in the first 2.5 hours, we've done a bit of, you know, adventuring, and that's given us enough points to open up all these additional areas. And obviously, the more points we get in more adventuring and crafting and leveling up, we're going to unlock more and more areas. And the goal is to be the best adventurer in the land. You want to be the very best, the best that ever was. So, what you can see here is, down in the lower right corner, days used. Now that is important, because you have 3 years. Whether you like it or not, you have 3 years. And when that 3 years is up, if you have not accomplished all the things that you set out to accomplish, you will fail the game. You will get the bad ending. This game series has bad endings that you can totally get. It's totally a feasible option. So, we have not been here to the natural garden, so we're going to head here. That's going to use up time. Almost every action we do in this game is going to use up time. So time is a commodity. Yes. So it's still kind of, see, that's a big ass thing I can fight. Doing certain things can help accumulate points. And you want points. So you become a first-rate adventurer, which is what I want to do. Be a first-rate adventurer. So, walking around in the game map does not move time. It is your actions that move time. So here, I want to gather materials to use in crafting. And doing that, I will get this blue fruit, red fruit, and purple fruit. Purple grapes. Done. And that's going to see the bar there? That used half a day. Leaning over to grab the thing on the ground used half a day. So there should be enemies in here, probably. I can jump. There are plenty of gathering points. I actually wanted to show off the combat system, if I could, here for a moment. So that was the only thing in that area. So we're going to go back here to Hunter's Forest. So that's going to take me 7 days. Now, keep in mind, I said 3 years. You have 3 years, but when walking from one area to another, it takes you 7 days. And here are the basic enemies that you will find very early in the game of any of these games. It is the Poonies. They're basically the same as the slimes from Dragon Quest. Now, I don't have any of my compatriots with me, and that was perhaps a poor decision on my part. I need to go back to town and get my other party members. I'm probably going to die here. So let's just flee. Get the fuck out of here. So that was a poor decision on my part. We need to go back to town. So I just wasted 7 days doing that because I made poor choices in the first place. So there are certainly many things to consider when playing these games in terms of what you should be doing, how you should be thinking ahead, and things of that nature. Here's my dad. And a cutscene. Pretty much the cutscenes are all kind of in this style of just, you know, talking portraits, but that's okay. It does have an option for the voices to be in English, but usually I find English voice acting for games that were originally in Japanese to be pretty atrocious, so I tend to try to have the original language whenever possible, although apparently the first one of the second trilogy does not have any... It does not have a dual language track, which is kind of a damn shame. But I bought it anyway because I want this series to continue doing well in English and to continue coming out in English, because there are certainly way too many games that just languish in Japan and just never get released here. So this is when, if I had bought a book, this is what happens. So I got Bomb, Polish Powder, and Zettel, which is a kind of cloth. And those will assist me in crafting new materials. Yes, move this all. Yeah, no, that's fine. All right, so what we first of all, we're not at full health, so I don't know if I have any healing items. I might. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna heal here. Now you can heal one of two ways. You can do it that way, or you can go over here and sleep. Now, keeping in mind, I told you that time passes for everything, and time is the most valuable commodity in this game. Sleeping is not the best idea. You don't want to waste days literally doing nothing because you need those days to get further in the game. So if that sounds kind of overwhelming, if that gives you anxiety, then perhaps this is not the game for you. So I'm going to get one of my friends here in the party. I only got 2 right now, so I can't actually get any others, but as you go through the game, you'll meet more friends. Your friends will have quests for you, and you can add them to your party. So I'm going to recruit her. She's pretty strong. And now, we're going to venture back out into the world. I'm going to play a little bit longer, and I will have given you a basic idea of how the opening of this game works. I do want to actually get this finished at some point, but I don't know when that's going to be. We're almost hitting the, usual fall release schedule of, oh god, new games are coming out, oh god, ah! That kind of stuff, so I'm going to go back to where I was, because I do want to collect some more stuff here in the Hunter's Forest, but there's a battle, obviously, before that, but now I have 3. So it's 3 dudes versus these assholes who are going to throw some barrels at me. I don't have any, actual skill stuff yet, which is unfortunate, but I will do what I can in this. This is a turn-based battle, so I am choosing what to do here for each turn. And as someone who's played lots of RPGs, and see, I'm gaining points there. As someone who's played lots of RPGs, I don't really like active battles. Like, I don't mind it in games like Yakuza, where, you know, it's actually a, like, more of a fighting game. But there are plenty of games that don't do it right. So this is pretty early, so you're getting a lot more character interaction in between gameplay than you normally would, but there is plenty of actual character interaction and stuff that you can seek out in the game. Alright, so here we are in this new area. There are enemies to fight, and there are things to gather, and that is part of the basic gameplay loop, is doing that. And the other part is taking missions and crafting. So we're going to use attackslug skill here. You're going to gain more skills as you gain more levels, as you would in any traditional role-playing game. Unnecessary upskirt shot there, but, you know, it's Japan, what are you going to do? So, you hammer away, you hope for the best, and you win the battle. And you get a thumbs up. Just taking my gimmick. Yeah. So, we did that. This is obviously still early, so we're getting kind of a lot of these. Probably because that's the first time I actually used her skill in the game, so. Alright, so we're gonna sit here and gather. You've noticed that we passed like a half a month since I started to actually play, like 15 minutes ago. So you can see how game time is going to go real quickly in terms of how the game works. So how much in the previous game, the gathering didn't take up time, so you can do as much gathering as you wanted, as long as you can get, you know, walk around to the areas that you wanted to walk to. So that stuff to me is an interesting change. I'm curious to see how it plays out, and I'm curious to see how the plot of this game goes. It's kind of, you know, obviously still really early, and I don't have much of a grasp on how it's supposed to work now, but the last game I played through it in like, I played through that whole game in like a week, and I had a fucking fantastic time, but at the same time I was dog sitting, so I wasn't home, so I brought my PS3, and this was all I was playing, and I had a great time. But when I'm home, and there's a computer over here, and there are other things going on, and there are videos I gotta record, and that kind of stuff, I can't always be able to dedicate that much time to a video game all at once. I'd like to, I really would, but I don't always have that luxury. So we're gonna go here, this is our last stop, and then we'll go back to town and see if we can't craft some of that new stuff. Some of that new. That's a goat. That's right, you can't milk a fish. We found a new area. We're gonna see if we can talk to this guy over here. What's up, dude? Yo. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What's up, goat? Nope. He's like, nope, you're not. You ain't fucking milking this shit. Alright, so let's head back and see if we can't. Actually, no. Let's grab some of this stuff here and then head back. Let's get some wheat. Half a day. Let's get some more wheat and some fuel dirt. Another half a day. You can see how it adds up. And so keeping in mind your time management is certainly an important thing, and not just walking around willy-nilly and just kind of, you know, saying, oh, like you have to walk around with purpose. There has to be a purpose for going to these areas. Either you're on a quest, there are things that you want, there are ingredients you need for crafting. One of those things are always important and things you should be keeping in mind. This is not a game that is just, you can't just prance through it, you know? Alright, so I'm gonna cutscene here. I could probably hit start and skip it if it actually ends up being a bit long, because I kind of wanted to be done by now, so... Actually, nope. Alright, I'm just gonna thumb through this. I'm sure it's great, and I will play it. I guarantee you I will play it, but I don't know when. So we're just gonna thumb through it right now, because I'm gonna see it again when I actually play through this game. So, I apologize if you're watching this and you want to know what happens to the story. If you really want to know, go out and get this game. I guess is the bottom line there. But, I did want to go into the crafting one more time. We have a bunch more items. And we've got new ingredients. We don't have enough for that. But we can certainly make this. And you can see there, it's grayed out in the on the right because we have not made it yet. So we're gonna make one of them. It's gonna each thing you craft will take a day or a couple of days, depending on how complex it is. And trust me, they get real complex. So we get to choose here what we want as the plant ingredient, and what we can do here is sort them by quality, traits, type, level, category, register. So we're gonna sort by qualities. We want the best quality. So this uni is an A. We're gonna use that and a mud head, and alright. And then we got our already crafted supplement that has a bunch of different stats there on the left. Do that. And then some water. We've got a bunch of just, not very good water. But, as I'm scrolling here, the water, there's different stats. Even though it's the same, even though it's all D grade, there are different stats on the water. That has a different trait. Small. I don't know how water is small, but it's a video game. So, we're going to synthesize it. It's going to take a day. We have this paper now, and we can choose. We have 4 points that we can choose. So we can those take 0, but these we can only choose 2 out of the 3 because that's 5 there, 2 and 2 and 1. So we're gonna do just the 2 ones there, and then we go, I'm sure. And now it's gonna have those stats. And so how that comes into play is that when you're crafting a bunch of stuff to make some brand new thing, what stats they use in the base level stuff is going to determine what stats they inherit in the next level stuff. And if that sounds complicated, it kind of is. And here's this girl who is like our rival. Although I'm sure at some point in the story she will join our team. Spoilers. That's how video games work. She got her own license. Good for her. I am sure she will be appearing more and more often in the game as it progresses. Only 3, and I'm one of the 3. She's hiring me? That's a hell of a name. That is a hell of a name. Put some pants on, Randy Orton! Alright, we're gonna thumb through this real fast and see where it puts us more in the game. It's a very impractical outfit. Alright, so those are the basics that I have shown you here in Atelier Totori, The Alchemist of Arland for the PS3. It is the second game in the trilogy, so I wouldn't say start here. If you want to get into this, they just put out Atelier Verona Plus, which upgrades the originals from like 09's or 2010's graphics to this level and gives you all the options like the fast travel and everything else. So get the Plus version, don't get this version. Or, if you have a Vita, all the Plus versions are on the Vita, but they're only available digitally. Now me, you know me, I like a physical copy of a game, so I'm always going to buy it on the PS3 because it's going to be a physical copy of the game. So, that's going to do it for me, attackslug, here with Where You At. This is a game I would recommend, but play the first one first and see if you're interested there. And certainly do not judge a game by how it looks, because it is certainly more complex than you could possibly imagine. And I will see you next time right here on this channel, and I'm out.